YouTube, Autumn Beckman here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My channel is all about luxury on a budget, so if you're into that sort of thing, make sure you subscribe. Click the bell notification icon to be notified when I post new videos, and like the videos that you enjoy. Today is part 2 of the Q&A from one of my YouTube videos where I asked 4 questions and you gave questions in the comments on that video. I will link part 1 below, as well as the Instagram questions, which was a previous video also. I'm gonna pick up right where I left off and try to go through these kind of quickly because I think I still have a lot to go. This first question is from, I don't know if it's Jaime or Jamie Hanlon. This person asked, would you recommend selling the Neverfull pochette and purchase a pochette accessoire? I was blending the two. I would definitely say that of the two, I would highly recommend the pochette accessoire over the Neverfull pochette. But whether you sell the Neverfull pochette would be up to you, and if you want it or you need the money for the accessoire. The accessoire is bigger, it has a strap where you can wear it on your shoulder, and you can make it a wristlet like the Neverfull pochette. It has a pocket inside, so does the Neverfull pochette. Maybe I should do a comparison on those two. That's a good idea for a video. I wrote it down and added it to my idea list. And the pochette accessoire also fits inside the Neverfull. I'd have to say if you have to decide between one or the other, it's the pochette accessoire all the way. Marsha Morris, how do people pre-sale new LV products? Where do they find out what they are? So you're talking about like when we find out that there's this collection coming out in, let's say this is the spring, and we find out there's this collection coming out in the fall and you can pre-order it. What I would recommend is going to Instagram. I would follow Foxy LV there, and I'll link her Instagram account below. She is the guru of all of this. She would be able to answer your questions much better than I do. She knows people at LV and has some of the inside scoop on that. I pre-ordered something once and I went into an LV store and they had a paper for me to fill out for which item it was and my name and all that. I did not have to prepay at that time, but I think they've changed it where now you do have to prepay, but I don't really know because Louis Vuitton is very, very inconsistent with some of these things, which is maddening. I'm sure there will be people in the comments that say they didn't have to prepay the last time they purchased something. Who knows? I've also heard that they're not even doing pre-orders anymore and it's just a first come first serve. I have no idea anymore how it works, so I would really recommend asking Foxy LV. She tends to have the latest information, and she's also the best resource that I know of to find out what's coming out in future seasons. She posts photos all the time on her Instagram of things that are coming out later in the year or the following year. She's a fantastic resource for that. Jennifer Blue, hi Jennifer. Given your exploration of shoes and replicas, dupes, not replicas, the dupes don't have the name of the designer, like they don't say Louis Vuitton or something on them. They might look just like the item, but they don't have the designer logo, whereas the replicas or fakes do. Are you considering purchasing an authentic Hermes bag or Chanel flap? Yes and no. I do have a Chanel bag on my radar at the moment. I would like to get an Hermes Kelly, but the Kelly would be down the road, like my 50th birthday. The Chanel bag I'll get sooner. Elaine Traficanto asks, so Elaine has 2 Noes in her Fashionphile wish list. What do you think? I love the Noe bag. I don't know which ones you have in your list, but I have the vintage Noe GM in the monogram. I love that bag. And I also have an Epi in the regular size, like it would be the same size as the petite Noe. Wine Pretty, oh I like your name. How do you feel about the giant monogram collection? I really like them, especially when they get paired with the reverse canvas, a light beige color. It turns out really cool. I'd like to know if you're interested in getting one. I don't like the giant print, and the only reason for that, I liked it until I saw a close-up of it. You know how on the squares they're not like a solid light brown, you can see little lines in them? Well, the monogram is the same way. And what I don't like is when they blew up the monogram, that they also blew up all those lines and that you can see those details better. I don't like that. That looks to me like they put it on a Xerox machine and blew it up and distorted it. I love everything else about it though. I love the monogram with the reverse monogram. I love the Speedy is my favorite piece in that collection, and that's one I would consider getting, although I've missed the boat at this point. And Preloved, they're way overpriced. But that's my take on them. I like them, but then I don't like that one thing. And the really colorful ones, those I don't like. Those I'm not a fan of. I do like the green, and I like the black and white, like the Neverfull and the Speedy, right? There's one that's green and then it has black and white handle. Love that part, but on the back, the beige and white, I don't like. And I don't like that paired with the green. And then the really colorful ones just aren't for me. I don't like those color combinations. Gigi Ferrari asked, do you know if they'll bring the Papillon new model back? I haven't heard anything about it, but that doesn't mean anything. She said she's been hearing that they will, and do I like that bag? And if not, why? I don't think it would work for me, being the barrel shape and having that round base. I prefer a flat base. That's my only concern with that. Elaine Bobafish, do you plan to add any Preloved Chanel bags to your handbag collection? Why, yes I do. And that's all I'll say on that for now. Angelica Campos asked, what are your thoughts on LV sneakers for women, and do I own any? I think some of them are super cool. I have no idea what they're called. I've just seen pictures of some of them. Personally, I wouldn't buy them because I don't wear sneakers, but if you do and you like them and you're willing to spend that amount of money on them, then go for it. I think there's some very cool looking ones. Licensed and insured A, hi. When did you decide you would trust the real again? I never didn't, actually. Even after that luggage tag thing, I had purchased from them before and not had any problems until that. Once I found out about that and educated myself on luggage tags, I knew what to look for, and it was just a learning experience for me to educate myself more on anything I was looking for, even if it's from a Preloved site that theoretically has authenticators and guarantees authenticity, like the Real or Fashionphile or Rebag or Yoogi's Closet or anybody else that does that. So I've always trusted them. I've made many purchases since the luggage tag from them and no problems. Other than that Fendi bag that had condition issues that weren't disclosed. They took that back too. I trust them. I still buy from them. Sean Blason asked, are you planning to create a Patreon account to upload exclusive content and videos? I have no idea really what that is. I've heard of Patreon where people can donate money. I have no plans to do that, but I don't know about that being something for exclusive content. I don't know. I would guess that's paid content, like you have subscribers that pay to see certain videos. I have no interest in doing that. Leslie Agnew, any suggestions for a non-influencer on how to sell authentic designer items on the internet? I've been tracking Facebook groups, but it seems that only a few very popular sellers actually sell their items. Would appreciate any tips. I talked about this in the previous Q&A, so go check that out. I've never noticed that about only popular sellers selling items. I just haven't paid attention to that, so I don't know whether that's true or not. I don't know. Diana Robertson asked, was wondering if the LV counters within a department store might put their LVs on sale. Louis Vuitton never goes on sale. The only place you can get it cheaper is buying Preloved. Even those counters, as far as I understand it, they're still like the boutiques inside a department store are still owned by Louis Vuitton. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong about that. So yeah, they never go on sale and they don't have outlets. And by the way, I've been seeing this a lot in the Facebook groups, so let me address it here. People who don't know can learn. There have been these things popping up called UA bags, unauthorized authentic. All that means is fake. Don't believe, you know, they try to make it sound like it's made at the LV factory and it's an authentic bag. They just didn't sell it. LV burns their bags that they don't sell or that have defects. Unauthorized authentics are fake bags. Fernando Cristobal Romero, I Americanized your name, sorry, has a few questions. One, what was your first experience with luxury brands? When did you realize you were into it, not necessarily buying something? I addressed this in the previous one too about Dooney and Burke, and then moving to New York and Louis Vuitton there. Question 2, I am like you, Louis Vuitton lover, but for you, why Vuitton? New York, that's what I saw everywhere. That's what I fell in love with first. It's not just Louis Vuitton for me. I'm into other brands too, but it's been primarily Vuitton so far. 3, because of your channel, have you ever had problems at your work or with students? No, I haven't. Sometimes I tell my classes about my YouTube channel, like on the first day. I tried to keep it secret for a few years, but I knew people would start finding out, so I just started telling everybody once they did start finding out. And the reason they find out is because students Google their teachers these days, and if you Google my name, it's all YouTube stuff. I've had students do that in my classrooms. I'm in a computer lab and they'll Google me right in front of me and start asking me questions about Louis Vuitton, and I tell them I don't teach about Louis Vuitton. we're not here to talk about that. And they don't always like that answer, but that's not what I teach, so there you go. If you want to learn about Louis Vuitton from me, you can watch my videos. Question 4, do you know something of my country, Chile? I know 2 things. 1, your flag looks a whole lot like the Texas flag, and 2, related to that, when we were in Italy a few years ago, we happened to be there during the World Cup, and we were in Florence, and there was a margarita bar, which I was not expecting to find, but I did, that we walked into, and it was the game where Chile was playing someone else. I don't remember the other country, but that was really fun because we were in there with a bunch of people from Chile, and they were all watching the game and cheering. And you know, the World Cup isn't such a big thing, or hasn't been such a big thing. It's getting to be more of a big thing in America. So that was really fun to be over in Europe and see people's reaction to that. Question 5, what's your opinion about the LGBTQ+ community and equal marriage? I'm pro all of that, absolutely. Hot Mess Mom asks, how do you store your lovely collection? I think I answered this one in the Instagram Q&A video, so I'll link that below. I was keeping them in dust bags for a long time, on my bags and everything, but now I keep them sitting on top of the dust bag. I'll fold the dust bag, put it under the bag, and that's just so I can see everything. I have a closet that doesn't have windows, so it doesn't get light, it doesn't get dust. Really, I mean, it gets a tiny bit. We've been in this apartment for a little more than a year, and I'm just starting to notice a little dust in there, so I think they're very safe. Angela Silver, how long have you been a teacher, and what grade do you teach? I am going into my 9th year right now, so I've taught for 8 years. The first 2 years I taught elementary school art. It was pre-K through 5th grade. It's quite a range. I had 750 students each week, and I saw each of them only one time. That was a nightmare schedule. And now I teach middle school, which is 6th through 8th grade where I am, and I teach photography and yearbook. Fong Fong Yummy, it's a fun name. Can you bring a tag to the LV store to do the hot stamp even though you did not buy it from them? And if yes, what are you going to say to get the stamp? If not, where do you get the stamp? They will hot stamp a tag for you even if you have not purchased it from them. You don't have to say anything other than you take your tag in and say, I want to get this hot stamped. It's been my experience that they don't care if it's a brand new tag or a vintage tag or whatever. I did hear somebody say recently, I don't remember where it was, Instagram or Facebook group. I don't remember if it was a bag they took in for repair or if it was a hot stamp. I think maybe it was a bag for repair. And they actually looked up in the system to see if the person had that bag on their account and then refused them because they didn't. Whether or not something is on your account doesn't mean anything because you could have bought it overseas and the accounts are not linked up, or it could have been a gift, or it could have been inherited. That really doesn't make much sense logically. If you want to have a story in place to go in, you know, this was a gift or this was inherited, you could say that. They didn't seem too happy when I told them about that one luggage tag I took in, that I'd purchased it Preloved. Actually, they didn't even seem to know what the Preloved sites were, which surprised me. It made me feel like they weren't being totally honest, but I don't know that for sure. But yes, they should hot stamp your tag with no problem at all. Jill Maurer, hello Jill. Jill asked, what are you doing to get ready for the school season, and what are you looking forward to and dreading about work starting up again? So just like with the part 1 of this Q&A, I'm filming this the night before I have to go back to school and lose my freedom. Today I just need to get my bag together. I'm gonna prep my lunch tonight. I usually prep my food the morning of my breakfast and lunch, but I'm doing a little something different, and my food lately I think requires a little more prep, so I'm going to do some of that tonight. I've actually been prepping for work for about a month now. I bought this book I have right next to me here called The Photographer's Playbook. It just has on each page a different idea from a different photographer about, says assignments and ideas. So they're like little photo challenges for yourself to make yourself a better photographer or do some things you would normally do. So I'm going through that to look for lesson plan ideas, something that I could adapt to the classroom. I have a goal of finding 5 a day that could work as a lesson plan. That might be a little much. And I've been starting to get my notes together and prepping a planner with dates for the year and things like professional development lists and my list of days off that I can reference throughout the year and add to. What I'm looking forward to and what I'm dreading about going back to work again. What I dread is always just the loss of free time that I have because I use so much of it to work on YouTube these days. It's a much more packed schedule when I'm working, teaching and working on YouTube. What I'm looking forward to the most, I do really enjoy the job. I love meeting the new 6th graders, the incoming students. They're always fun, especially at the beginning. They're kind of adorable, you know, especially on the first day. It's this big new place. It's a little scary for a lot of them. They're learning about lockers and how to open the locks for the first time, and they just look so little and nervous, and then they grow up throughout the year. That's kind of fun about teaching middle school. You see these kids grow over the 3 years and they grow so much. And then since I get to teach yearbook too, I get to document that progress, and that's fun. Lily LV, hi Lisa. If you were only able to purchase one luxury bag in your entire life, what bag would that be? Can be any brand, of course. Maybe the Kelly, the Hermes Kelly. That's sort of an ultimate bag for me. I feel like that's not only very luxurious, but it would be long lasting because it's made so well, and I find it to be a very functional bag. And I know that from the Amazon dupes that I have. That's where they've really come in handy, is figuring out whether I'd like a style before I drop $5,000, $10,000 on a bag. Not that I've done that yet. But yeah, I could really see the Kelly being a forever bag that's very practical and it would last. Kimberly Cooper asks, where do you store all of your luxury items? She says, I know you're in a smaller apartment. You may be thinking that I was in the previous apartment, which was very small. We still had a big closet though, but I shared it with the boyfriend. We moved about a year ago. We're in a much bigger apartment now, and I have a large closet all to myself. And I have shelves around that have all my bags on them, and I've done a closet tour which I can link below. Michelle Walmack, do you regret any purchases you made from Louis Vuitton, and how does your boyfriend feel about you spending your money on luxury things? He doesn't care because we keep our money totally separate. He has his money, I have my money. I don't care what he spends money on, he doesn't care what I spend money on. We also, any bills we have, the apartment, utilities, when we go out to eat or when we buy groceries, we split all of that 50-50. Any vacation expenses, all 50-50. As long as I can pay my half of everything, he's fine, and as long as he can pay his half of everything, I'm fine. Purchase regrets from Louis Vuitton. There's nothing I regret purchasing, but there have been some things that I've sold because I found out they didn't work for me, or there was something about them that I didn't like. I have done other videos on that. There was my Trevi GM handbag. There was the denim pleaty I recently sold. Beautiful little bag, but it didn't work for me. And there was a compact Sarah wallet that I wanted that ended up being a little too big for me. Deborah Shepherd Nation asks, how are your Coach Alexa and Cassie bags holding up? Beautifully. The Alexa I don't use all that much because it's a smaller bag and it's more, for me, it's more like a going out to dinner bag. The Cassie I use all the time though, and it's wonderful. It's holding up great. I recommend. Dawn Loves Couture asks, how can you find out what stamps are available? I don't know if you can call your store and ask. I've just had to go into the store and ask. And I also sometimes find out from the Facebook groups or from Foxy LV's Instagram account or other people's Instagrams that post pictures of things. She also asked, do you have a current favorite book and or TV series? Book I don't. The TV series, currently my favorite one that I have to see every episode every Wednesday or as soon as I remember that it's on is A Handmaid's Tale. Loving it. Liz Sack asked, what's the most expensive bag you purchased? I answered this one in the last Q&A. I'll link that below. What's the most you would spend on a bag? The most I'd spend would probably be whatever it costs to get the Hermes Kelly that I wanted. I don't think I'd spend over $10,000, but I probably wouldn't spend over $5,000 either. Just depends. I wouldn't be able to get that anytime soon, so it depends on in my future what my situation is. If I had the money and didn't have to worry about it, I'd spend whatever, you know. It depends on my finances. And what bag is your all-time favorite? I don't have one that's an all-time favorite. Maybe, I mean, I can't even say the Kelly there because there are other bags that I love. In my current collection, it's the Turenne, the Louis Vuitton Turenne. I love it. Of classic bags, it's probably the Speedy in the 30 size. Stella Maria asks, wouldn't it be nice if LV made a women's line of bags in the graphite or eclipse canvases? I mentioned that in either this video or the previous one. I'm filming it all at once and now I don't remember which one I mentioned it in. So the graphite or eclipse canvases with the silver hardware, yes, it would be nice. She says, I can't understand why they haven't yet, but if they did, which canvas would you want and in which style of bag? I prefer the monogram eclipse print. I'd want it in a Speedy or a Neverfull. I actually, last time I was at where was I? Saks at the Houston Galleria. I saw a woman with a Neverfull in Monogram Eclipse. As far as I know, Louis Vuitton has not made that. It was still a beautiful bag. And how much does LV charge for a small D-ring to attach to your luggage tag? As far as I know, I was looking to see if I have one out. I don't. As far as I know, they don't sell those. I can put a link below to a place where you can get them on Etsy or Amazon. I'm not sure. I got one recently that was a little cheaper than Etsy, I think. I don't know. I'll put a link below for them. MBF asks, what do you think of Dooney and Burke and Coach? I think they're great. I have a couple of Coach bags. Dooney, I had one of their bags once. It was a Neverfull dupe, basically. It looked pretty much identical to a Neverfull, except it didn't have the checkered print. It was a zigzag, like a chevron, and the inside was red. The outside, the chevron was the chocolate and caramel colors like the baton is. But I only had it for a few months before I sold it because I bought the Neverfull. The only thing I don't like about those brands, somebody else asked in the previous video, the part 1, about Kate Spade and Michael Kors. The only thing I don't like is that they don't hold their value. When you try to sell them, you can't get anywhere near what you paid for them. Are you barking at the car that just honked? I don't think they can hear you. Jean Franklin asks, how do you feel about using a non-LV bag charm on an LV bag? I do it all the time, no problems. Say, I see other YouTubers doing that all the time, and I'm hesitant and afraid it would cheapen the look of a bag. If you did choose a non-LV charm, what would you use? I think it just depends on the charm. There's not a particular one. I have lots of bag charms that aren't Louis Vuitton. I have no hesitations about using them. I think as long as you get one that you think looks nice, that's all that matters. Personally, I tend to wear charms that I think look sophisticated, the right word, I'm not sure, elegant, or I don't know. I think there are a lot of bag charms that I've seen that look childish. I have some LV bag charms that I think look childish though. The one with the penguin, like, who wears animated stuff, it looks like a kid, you know. And then the big poofy things, I think those look childish. Like, my students would wear those, but I have some of those too. So I think just buy whatever you like, whatever appeals to you and you think looks nice. You can definitely find some that are nice looking and won't make your bag look cheap. Beth M asks, I just purchased a large vachetta luggage tag with the Paris Eiffel Tower stamp for $170. It was originally listed for $180 and I talked him down a bit. Do you think $170 is a reasonable price? I've been wanting this stamp for some time now and don't see myself traveling to Paris anytime soon. For exactly the reason you mentioned, I think $170 is a very good price for those. The luggage tags, if you don't know, they sell for, I think it's like $65 and $75, so the small and the large size. When you get it stamped, you can't just get those stamps anywhere. So a lot of those stamps you can only get at particular places. $170 is a lot cheaper than going to Paris, so I think that's just fine. And I've seen those priced much higher. I think $170 is really a very reasonable price for it. Jessica Meredith, what do you think about luxury shoes? I like the look of some of them. I don't like the price of them. I haven't purchased any yet because I can't justify spending that much on something that I know I'm going to wear out. Even if it lasts a few years, like, I can justify a handbag because I can make a handbag last, because a handbag isn't going to get the kind of wear that shoes will get, right? Those are on the ground, they get filthy, they get scuffed, they get stepped on sometimes. All kinds of things happen to shoes. So I haven't been able to justify that yet. But there are some great designs and there have been some shoes that have tempted me. Like, I wouldn't mind having a pair of Chanel ballet flats. And there's a pair of flats from Louis Vuitton in the monogram print that I really like too. And I wouldn't rule out getting them. I just haven't been able to justify that yet. Michelle Salter asks, what are your next YouTube goals with regard to content, subject editions, and schedule? Have you considered meeting up with fellow YouTubers for a get-together, a mini retreat, creating your own inner circle event for yourselves? And what other side businesses have you considered from being a seasoned YouTuber along with your luxury on a budget theme? So let's go through these here. Next YouTube goals regarding content, subject editions, and schedule. Right now, I don't have particular goals going. I probably should be working on that later this year or earlier next year. My goal for a while has been to reach 10,000 subscribers, and I did that a few months ago. Right now, I'm very content. My channel is growing at a rate I'm happy with. I'm good with all that. Subject editions, I do want to do more of the, like, psychology behind luxury sort of thing. editing. I've done a few things like that. I have a few more planned, or at least I have the ideas written down, but I haven't sat down to make all the notes and like plan the video out. As far as schedule, I'm sticking with the schedule that I've been on, which is posting Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 in the morning Central Time, and then Saturdays at 9 in the morning Central Time. 3 videos a week is a lot, but I've been able to do it and stick with it for about a year now, getting close to a year now. That's been working well for me, I think. Sometimes I think about doing fewer videos a week so that it's less work for me, because it's a lot, but I have so many ideas and I'm always coming up with more ideas. I don't have the time to only do 1 or 2 a week. Like sometimes I wish I could do 1 every day, but I am not Jill Maurer. I am not that incredible. If you don't know, she's doing a video a day for the entire year of 2019. It's insane and amazing. Have you considered meeting up with fellow YouTubers for get together and that sort of thing? Yes. There are a few individual people that we've talked about getting together and we just haven't made it happen yet. Right now, my focus is my mom is going to be taking me on a birthday trip for my birthday this fall. That is the only trip I'm focused on. I can't really travel during the school year. I'll be taking a couple days off for that, but otherwise I can really only travel during the summers, and it is now the end of the summer, so I wouldn't be able to go somewhere until next year. But I have had at least one person say they're interested in coming to visit with me here in Houston too. I don't want to say who the people are because we haven't talked about saying that publicly yet. What other side businesses have you considered from being a seasoned YouTuber that go along with your luxury on a budget theme? Haven't really. Should I be thinking about that? I'm so busy with teaching and doing the videos that I haven't even thought about that. Rose Schweibert, hope I said that right, says, I know you're an animal lover and I think that's wonderful. Do you like children too? Do you see yourself being a mom to a child one day? I teach children, so I like them enough to do that, but I've never wanted to have children of my own for 300 million thousand zillion reasons. Cinderella, what is the 1 or 2 bags in your collection that you would never sell or give away? That would be my Louis Vuitton Turenne. That's really the only one that I do my best to keep no matter what. Do you own a Speedy Nano, and how much do they hold compared to other LV similarly sized pieces? I don't have that. The tiny bags are not for me. I carry too many things. What's currently at the top of your wish list? My birthday bag, which I'm not revealing. Sorry. Shelly Savitsky says, I'm looking to buy my first LV in a few weeks for my birthday. Congratulations. This might go up after your birthday, so hopefully you have it, and more congratulations. Which LV purse would you buy first if you were starting over? I would buy a Speedy. She says, I keep going back and forth from a Speedy 30 bandolier, Neverfull MM, and an Iena MM. I keep going back to the Neverfull because of the pouch too, so it's kind of a bonus. That's true, and for me, if I was to start over, I'd get the Speedy first because that bag I tend to carry more than the Neverfull. I don't have the Iena, but yeah, the Speedy 30, and if I had to do over again, I would do the bandolier version. I've actually thought about selling my Classic and getting a bandolier instead, except that I only paid $745 and the bandolier version I think is about twice that, so I don't really want to pay another $700 just for a strap. But yeah, the pouch in the Neverfull is definitely a bonus, but only if you use it or if you want to sell it and get $300 or $400 back for it. That is a bonus. Leslie Craven asks, are you taking any continuing education classes this summer? I did do one, we call it professional development. I did one of those. It was a gifted and talented course at the Houston Museum of Natural Science, and I actually felt like I already knew almost all of the information in that course. I've been teaching for a little while now, but what I loved about it was that we got to explore the museum on our own, and I'd been to that museum, but I hadn't really gone through it before, and I saw a lot that was very cool. And I didn't know that museum was so cool, so I'm gonna be going back there. JJ Taylor says, since becoming a YouTube sensation, thank you. He says tongue-in-cheek, I agree. I wonder how or if this has changed anything in any way regarding your personal life. So for example, do you get recognized out and about, and how do your students and pupils and fellow colleagues react? If they do, is it all positive? Hope this question makes sense. Thanks. It does, and I actually addressed all this, I think, in the part 1 video. So I have been recognized a few times. Students, a couple of them care about it, but most don't care. None of the colleagues have said anything to me about it. So I haven't had any negative experiences at all with it. I'm a little surprised that none of our parents, many of which carry Louis Vuitton and Chanel and Hermes, I'm surprised none of them have told me that they recognize me. I don't know if any have and they just haven't said anything. Yota Style asks, what is the boyfriend's name and how did you guys meet? I keep his name private for a few different reasons. Partly because he said at some point to keep it private. Actually, I don't think he cares anymore, but some of it just has to do with my students and privacy from them. How did we meet? We met through a mutual friend. We were all at dinner together and met and were friends for years and years, and then we're more than friends. What is your favorite wine? I don't have a favorite wine. I do tend to drink red more than anything else. I do tend to like the drier, full-bodied wines more than others. During the summer, I'm into the lighter wines and the bubbly wines and the sweet wines, so it varies, it depends. I like wine, that's it. Do you get recognized in public because of your channel? We've talked about this, Yota. How much of your spare time do you spend working on your channel? Just about all of it, seriously. I get overwhelmed sometimes, or maybe not overwhelmed, I get frustrated sometimes that I don't have more free time during the school year. During summers, I'm okay because I have more control of my schedule. I'm somebody that gets up early, like on work days, I get up at 5 and I don't have to leave home till about 8. So I have a 3-hour block where I can get ready and then I work on YouTube then. Then when I get home, I tend to be working on YouTube then too, whether I'm filming or editing or planning a video. And then I also have all the regular things to do, you know, I'm in charge of the food because I'm more picky about food than the boyfriend is. So I find recipes, I do meal plans, I do the grocery list. We both do shopping, sometimes separately, usually together. And then I do a lot of the cooking. I get him to help me prep some things, but I tend to do most of the cooking. And he does all the dishes. That part I'm very happy with. But all of that and, you know, laundry and keeping the house clean and walking the dogs, all that, it just gets to where like I need some space, you know. It can be a little much sometimes, but I also really enjoy it, like I said earlier, so it's worth it. And I get to meet lovely new friends like you. Gold Diego says, if you ever see a luxury item for very cheap, do you buy it even if it's not the one you're looking for, or do you wait until you find the one you actually want but at a normal price? Sometimes prices can be tempting. Sometimes prices can definitely be tempting. I have done that before, not just with luxury items, but with other things. I have learned though, especially with luxury items, not to buy something, even if it's a really good price, if it's not the condition I want or exactly the item that I want. Because if you do that and you get that item, you're either not happy with it or you still want it in the right color or the right condition or whatever it might be. So I have learned to wait, and even if I have to pay a little more to get the right one, that it's worth it because that's the one that I really want. Bags Come and Bags Go asks, how old is the boyfriend? I don't want to answer that because of students. I just don't want to deal with that end of it, but he is quite a lot older than I am. Any chance of marriage in your future? No, neither of us wants to be married. And do you want to have children? No children. No. Looks like our last question is from Lovely Life. They say, you have such a nurturing nature, then why do you choose not to have kids? Does it have anything to do with your childhood hardships? It does not. Before that happened, when I was young, when I was little, I have just never ever wanted to have children, and like I said earlier, there are 3 gajillion reasons for that. Yeah, I think having a nurturing nature doesn't mean that you want children or need them. I have dogs for that. I'm much happier with dogs than I would be with having kids. I do enjoy working with my students. I like being around many of those people, most of those people, almost all of them. I do enjoy being around them. We have a great group of kids and families and colleagues at my school. I enjoy that. Never wanted kids. Don't need them to be happy, for sure. Much happier without them as my own personal children, for sure. And that's a good point about the childhood hardships, because I can definitely see some people who that would affect their decision to have kids, but that for me had nothing to do with it. Second question, what's your favorite color other than turquoise and favorite place in the world? I would have to go with green for my favorite color, kind of an olive green. And then favorite place would have to be, because it's the only other place in the world I've been besides America, is Italy. Loved Italy. Best food I've ever had was in Italy. And and it's beautiful, and the people were lovely. All right, that brings us to the end, finally, of the Q&As. I'll think twice when I do this again about asking questions on YouTube and Instagram, because having like 2 hours of Q&A content at once is probably a little much for you guys. Like, surely you want to see something different. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all the questions, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.